Hola, hola, Centani, and welcome to another episode of the Godfather Part 2 Minute. With me, Alex Robinson.
And me, Andy Robinson.
And we're talking about Minute 50. Minute 50, our big, giant-sized 50th episode spectacular. It feels like maybe in a minute-by-minute one, like 60 should be a bigger thing.
Oh, because it's 1 hour?
Yeah.
Huh.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I feel like usually
right.
50, but I feel like with it's like we're not quite an hour in. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have quite the same zing.
I mean, the only reason 50 is a significant number is because it's half of 100, and the only reason 100 is significant is because it's the first 3-digit number. It's kind of arbitrary.
Yeah, that's
true. Place these arbitrary values and labels on things, Alex.
Yeah. So you're saying it should be, the emphasis should be on like 47 and maybe the prime numbers.
I say we take the calendar, 365, and chunk that up. Like 30
what's
might be
your
a
favorite number?
What are we, like 4 years old?
What's your favorite number?
Was that ever
Who is the real Andy Robinson?
Was that ever a question when you were kids? What's your favorite number? I know what's your favorite color, but your number? Oh, man.
Maybe the audience is anticipating that we don't have a huge amount to talk about for this minute. So we're like, what's your favorite number?
I'm going to say 51.
51?
Yeah, just so you can think about it all week until we record next time.
Wow, so you must be, because then next week it's all downhill from there.
That's right, until we start GF2, GF3, Zaza.
Ask me what my favorite number is.
Alex, what's your favorite number?
Whatever the next one is.
Yeah, I like it. Nice.
But in this case, my favorite is number 50 because that's the minute we're talking about today.
Yeah. Alex, repeat after me. E minuto. Numero 50. 50,
which means
50. I think it's 50.
50.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying it to myself because I rarely look them up anymore because Alex, we've been through this before. I think it's 50. Yeah.
50.
54.
Does that literally mean like 5 times 10? Like 5?
It might, it might be 50. I'll ask, I'll answer. Sorry.
I'm surprised. I would have thought it would be something, because, in Roman numerals, we totally have a new thing now, which I guess is... Is it CL? L is 50.
L is 50?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So I thought maybe in Sicilian it would be a different, because it's Roman
based.
Similar thing, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So,
not sure.
Well, in minute number 50, what is it?
50.
We have Genco and Vito leave the theater.
Did you say Genco or Genquanto?
I said Genco. Genco and Vito leave the theater, and the future consigliere advises his soon-to-be godfather to forget about Fauxnucci.
Forget about it.
On a later date, we see Vito at work delivering grocery.
Yes.
So, we're in the thick of it now.
Yeah.
Well, so my first question is, Genco says, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, right.
And
I love that.
That raises some interesting questions, just that one line right there.
Yeah.
Because is this basically Vito learning the lesson to think like those around you think? So like when Genco says, I know what you're thinking, Vito's like, what? How does he know what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
Like, that's like a crazy power. So he's like, I got to start trying to do that. Is that where he got the idea from?
Possibly. I really like that question because I hadn't thought about it. And I think the English translation, which is what we're reading, like I know what you're thinking. I feel like that's almost like a cliche. Like, hey, I know what you're thinking, but
totally. Yeah.
I never really thought of it as a strategy the way you're posing it now. Could be though. Where I thought you were going with it was.
Yeah. Oh, I missed it.
You just missed it. Is this the moment where Vito realizes that Genco might be a good consigliere because he
knows what he's
into
thinking.
Psychology and thinking about he's thinking a couple steps ahead.
Yeah,
or it could be both.
Yeah. Well, the other follow up to that was has Vito done something before that makes Genco think that Vito wants to make trouble?
Yeah. Good
like,
question.
has Vito gotten into fights with other like ruffians or people who try to, like, does he have a track record of this sort of thing?
Yeah, or a track record for being bent out of shape when there are injustices.
Right.
Although
who knows? Maybe when he says, like, I know what you're thinking, he means like this is like the 8th time Genco has fallen for a girl who's been held at knife point. You know what I mean? Like, it's something totally unrelated to what or like we know Genco is secretly married this whole time. He's like, listen, I know what you're thinking. Like, I
think it's a little more mundane. I think it's Vito, I know what you're thinking. The show itself wasn't that great.
Yeah.
The story was weak.
I know what you're thinking. She's a little pitchy. She was a little pitchy.
I know the lady's a tramp, but
but I guess the fact that he does specifically say, I know what you're thinking, and Fanucci's part of the black, like, it's all Fanucci related.
Yeah,
so we have to assume that Genco thinks that Vito is thinking somehow about, like you said, about he didn't like the fact that Fauxnucci was there.
It would be absolute crazy if the Francis Ford Coppola tapes were discovered, and it turns out the Godfather trilogy was filmed to be like 100 hours long.
Yeah,
but 90 or 2 hours of it was just meaningless, kind of dumb things like that. So in the original, in Francis Ford Coppola's original script and take, it was, now Vito, I know what you're thinking, that the show was not very good, and Vito's like, that's not what I was thinking. Why would you think? Like, just meaningless, kind of almost slapsticky comedy. And that's why he argued so much with Paramount. They were like, what is this? You got to edit all this stuff out.
So basically the movie would have been like 19 hours long.
Yeah.
And only, like, what we saw here was the only crime related stuff. What was in the final movie, and everything else is kind of like a regular day in the life of immigrants in Italy.
No, it was really a romantic comedy. But all those elements were cut out.
Ever since Francis Ford Coppola edited together the two Godfather movies with bonus cut scenes and stuff like that, over in Star Wars land, they did a Clone Wars cartoon, and so basically someone was talking about the idea of editing. So it ran for like 5 seasons. So editing all the cartoons together and then editing in the movies, like, as if it's all one big story. Because
the movies do take place
because they
within
pretty much segue
periods.
Right into the movies.
Cool.
But
is that official, or is that like a YouTube?
No, just like some fan theories and stuff like that. But what's weird about it is that it makes those movies so much like a weird. Like one time where a lot of crazy stuff happens, and then there's a long lull where
that's right,
that's what like The Godfather would be like. Instead of it being like this, it would be like this regular following these regular Italian immigrants, and then suddenly he turns into this crime boss.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
I wonder if he has beat up other like criminals and so on.
Yeah,
in his adventures.
Yeah, I don't get that impression, or at least the filmmakers don't give you that impression.
Yeah, we don't see, other than Fanucci, we don't see the Don do any violence against any I guess we never see Vito do violence against someone who's not a criminal.
Yeah,
or Mikey too, for that matter. We don't see
why?
Why?
Because that would not be justice.
That's true.
He had what's coming to him. He got mixed up in the rackets.
What is a big experience?
Do you think what Michael later says about Captain McCluskey could be applied to Fanucci?
About what?
You got a man who got mixed up in the rackets, a dirty man, and got what's coming to him.
Around with his white coats. White jacket.
Stand them up. Stand his beak up.
So when they're trying to sell the story to like the local immigrants and stuff, you know, like, oh, local black hand guy got mixed up in in something.
That'd be great if that becomes a recurring strategy from Vito's playbook. Anytime they make a move, they always pump up the papers to.
So PR war is the most expensive. Is the most important war you can fight. I don't need tough guys. I need PR agents.
One copy editor can make more money, win more influence than 20 senators with nickels and dimes in their pockets.
Well, you know who does?
No, I meant that 3 copy editors with 1 senator, 3 dimes in his pocket. Wait a minute.
Well, one person who could use a good PR man is Fanucci, because here Vito has been living under the shadow of Fanucci. Vito has no idea who he is up until this point.
I mean, is that a better?
You think
better way to fly under the
living
radar?
a sheltered life up until now? He's like, you know.
Oh no, I don't mean better for Vito. I mean better for Fanucci.
No,
like only the people that need to know.
No. I think if you're Fanucci, you count on like.
Yeah,
and I guess most crime bosses, you probably want you want your friends to underestimate your cruelty. You want to be thought of as a mean SOB.
I loved how you truly tried to explain it to me for 3 seconds using the Don's language. No, I hear you. You want your reputation to do most of the work.
Yeah, you don't want to have to. You know, blood is a big expense. You'd rather people just be afraid, they fear you, rather than actually have to to put in the legwork.
Well, what else you got, Alex?
So Genco then goes on to re-explain the fact that he's the Black Hand, that he takes businesses from all the other Italian neighbors.
Yeah,
and Vito,
for those that can't protect themselves.
Yeah, because Vito's surprised. He says, "Why does he pick on other Italians?"
He asks, "Is he Italian?"
Yeah,
if he is, why does he pick on other Italians? Isn't that great? It's such a dated attitude, I guess.
Well, is it?
I think it is.
You think Italians should pick on other Italians?
No, I'm saying that it seems odd that someone nowadays it would be very strange, or it'd be stranger for someone to say like, "Oh, why are you not giving this guy a job? He's Polish too." Oh, so like people looking out for people of their own culture.
Right, but this is like the opposite. He's preying on those people.
Yeah, but the fact that Vito points that out, Vito is surprised by that. Another way of saying what Vito's expressing. He's
assumed that people would leave their own group alone.
Yes, that they would not prey on each other.
Yeah.
And another way Vito could have said it is, if he's Italian, why doesn't he go after the Jews or the Polacks or the Irish? Yeah. It just seems dated.
Well, it's
to some extent. I mean, they're racist now, and people that stick together. Of course, Alex. I'm not naive. Who's being naive now, Alex?
Well, that's an interesting. Like, how does, when Vito takes over, does he not take money from Italians?
What do you mean take money from them? Like in the gambling business?
Well, okay, let's assume like, gambling, whatever. Does he only like run crooked gambling operations and not let Italians play? Because,
no. Well, I think by that point, everyone's involved. They're making money off of everybody.
So it's more the naivete of Vito, like, that he thinks that, that would protect you from. It's also weird given that from where he came from, he had literally to flee the country from other Sicilians. Yeah. So, but maybe when he thought once you're among like other groups that you guys would all stick together and like point the spears outward rather than fighting each other for the
that makes sense.
Yeah, although I guess it kind of it like Genco says, it makes sense because he knows no one's going to protect these low level Italian people, whereas if he went into an Irish neighborhood and was suddenly like, you give me money, you know what I mean? Like, then whoever is controlling the Italian neighborhood would come over to him and be like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here, you Irish, you Italian bastard.
Yeah. Go wet your beak elsewhere.
So I guess they all probably mostly preyed on their own people.
Yeah. They probably tried to go into other neighborhoods, but he's like, can you do that? You see you.
Yeah.
What is he saying?
What are you talking about? Why, rather give me $5.
Nah.
You got anything else about Fauxnucci, Vito and the Fauxnucci?
The Fanucci. That's what his friends call him.
Nucci, that's what they call him.
Nucci. The Nooch. No, I do have just a couple follow-up items, but what else you got for the minute?
Well, like we said, not a heck of a lot going on, but when at the very end of the scene where you see old New York, you see Vito, is this really the first time you see it during daytime? Because other than that, we just saw the theater, right? We
I think so. Yeah, you saw him in his apartment.
Right.
With Sonny crying in the crib.
Yeah. Sonny crying. He's like, what am I going to do? I'm just a little baby. What am I going to do?
That's why he turned out to be such a stupid jerk, because everyone was making fun of him as a kid when he's a baby. Always crying
all the time.
Yeah. Little baby gonna cry on the causeway? Little baby crying on the causeway?
Who's gonna get shot at the causeway? Who's got a great big dick? The street there that he's walking on is filmed actually on location in New York City. It was on 6th Street, between Avenue A and Avenue B.
All right.
In Manhattan. I saw a picture of it online. It looks completely different, not surprisingly. And this is, of course, before they had like CGI where they could totally just put in a digital backdrop of anything. So they really had to decorate the whole street to make it look like, like a 1917 street.
Yeah, it's so cool looking.
Yeah.
It's so cool looking, and it would be great to visit a place like that, but I'm guessing like the day-to-day living in that kind of scene might not be so good. Like, I don't know if hygiene and like plumbing and all that. Yeah,
most places probably at this point did not have indoor plumbing. You probably had to go in the back to like an outhouse type situation.
I wonder if there's a lot of produce in this scene too. You see a lot of stands and vegetables and fruit. Yeah. And I wonder how fresh that was. Like you would assume that back then it was better quality. But I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well, I'm going to say the quality, it probably was fresher because it was probably grown,
nearby,
much closer than than New York City. They grow crops today.
Yeah.
But of course they didn't have all modern pesticides and GMOs and everything like that. Better. So fruit was probably all like smaller.
Yeah.
Dirtier, like more, imperfect, I guess is a way of putting it.
Yeah.
And probably rotted a lot faster.
Yeah.
So I meant to check, is Genco's, is the Abundando grocery the same storefront as the Genco olive oil company?
Oh, good question.
Is this where Pop gets shot by
does Pop get shot in front of the Genco olive oil company?
5 times.
I didn't even notice that was his shop. I didn't think we talked about
remember
it.
him and Fredo. He's like, Fredo, get the car, and then he just comes right out, goes to the fruit store.
Yeah, no, I did. I don't even think I put 2 and 2 together that was the same shop.
Huh, weird.
I thought it was just some store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I wonder if it's the same.
I don't know
one.
if the grocery is the same as the. I think later on we do see them put it. I think in a flashback later on we see them putting up the Genco sign, so we'll have to keep an eye out.
Yeah, and I think there's a baby Hyman Roth in that shot too.
Is there really?
I think he's not a baby, but like a teen. Or,
yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I watched all the deleted scenes because I know we've been talking about. There is a deleted scene where you see Fauxnucci get attacked, and he does the thing where he catches it in his hat.
Oh,
just like they describe in the book.
Wow.
So,
and Vito sees it.
Yeah, Vito is making a delivery, and then he sees the Fauxnucci getting roughed up, and then so Vito kind of like hides in the shadows, and then you see Fauxnucci. They grab him, they try to cut his throat, and far from what I said, like it's like just kind of acting like a tough guy. He just goes like ah, and literally just runs down the alleyway shrieking and trying to catch the blood. So he's not at all cool about it. He's totally just like, you know.
Wow, interesting.
So
interesting that they cut that out, but I think it was a good move to cut it out because it makes the upcoming scene where Vito stalks him and rubs him out just much more badass.
Yeah, I guess.
And risky.
Yeah, I guess if you see that he's vulnerable, you can understand why it works for the character, but it does make it less dramatic knowing that he, you know, just that anyone can just beat him. There was 7 scenes where he was jumped by various people. He's like, why are we paying this guy? No one's paying him. Genco's like, just forget about it, Vito. Do you think Genco is really Fanucci's consigliere, and that's why he's like, Vito, don't make any trouble, don't make any trouble. Whoa.
And that's why when Fanucci gets killed, Genco's looking for work as a consigliere.
Well, he knew, he's like, this is a perfect way to take Fanucci out.
Oh,
like, and I'll be one step closer to, and I'll be the puppet master controlling this meathead Corleone guy.
So it's Genco all along.
Wow. So he's like, I know what you're thinking, that Don Fanucci is mean, but we have to pay him. You know, he's threatening us. Right?
Like, come on, let me take you out to dinner. He's a lot of money because he's just got from this Genco all along.
And Genco happened to give Vito the night off when he sees Don Fanucci getting mugged by those 3 guys. Right?
Don't put the idea in his head
that he's weak.
You had him deliver groceries right past the place. And
you know, it wasn't even Fanucci. It was an actor that Genco hired.
Whoa, because he knows from people being backstage at the theater. That's who he has the act. It's the Mamma Mia guy.
Oh, that's the Fanucci understudy actor.
That's the Fauxnucci.
Oh, see, wait, it wasn't even Fanucci.
No, it was Marzini all along.
No, Fanucci at the theater really did leave.
Yeah.
But Genco and Vito went backstage, and that's when Signor, what's his name, the actor?
Panino.
Oh,
wait, wasn't he still on stage when they went?
No, they all left. And so they go backstage, but so on their way out, that's when Panino also leaves the stage and goes and does a quick change and goes to become Don Fanucci.
Don Fanucci, I like that. I picture
there really is no Don Fanucci
towards the end of the movie, and they show the same scenes, but it's like obvious that it's the Panino and stuff like that. Yeah, that's when we had Johnny and some of his Hollywood friends take over some roles too.
Yeah. It was the greatest role Don Fanucci ever played, with the irony is he could never tell anyone about it. Oh, that's because they had to. Vito could never know.
It's like Kubrick with the moon landing. Like he had to just totally had to. You know, if you watch the Without Mama show, he planted clues in there, letting you know that he was really a Fanucci the whole time.
Because in the song he sings when they're leaving, he's like, the English interpretation is, Mama, I miss Mama. Where can I wet my beak now?
Where can I wet my beak now?
Now.
Oh no!
That was such a like a 19 vaudeville era musical
flourish or style.
Yeah, just a little pickup note. I don't know what you call it. Like, I don't
know. Yeah, so you got what else you got? You got anything else?
I don't have anything for this minute. Like you said, it's a very, very quick minute, and it's really a transition minute. But I do have a follow-up to our Latin scholar Pete Carucci's note from last week. Let me know when you're done with this minute.
Okay, well, the other thing I had, we see a car at the very end of the scene, and automobiles were still fairly rare at that point in American life.
Okay.
In 1916, the scenes take place in 1917, but this is the closest. A car cost $875.
Wow. That seems expensive.
This is at the time where the income for a white man, the average income was $687. So roughly a little more than a year's salary to buy a car.
Wow, okay.
Back then. Gas was 15 cents. Gas was 15 cents a gallon.
Wow, that seems expensive too.
That does seem expensive. Well, I think that more reflects how our prices now are artificially kept lower.
Oh, yeah.
And also probably there weren't as many gas stations, there weren't as many processing centers. It's much cheaper to produce gas now.
It was probably a big luxury to have a car.
Right. Well, plus it's something you don't really think about, but there weren't a lot of paved roads.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it wasn't necessarily the most comfortable thing to ride around in, because you'd be like, you'd be all
when were the subways created in New York?
Oh, I feel like it was the late 1800s.
Oh, so they're around at this time.
I wonder. Or very limited. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. You know what? We'll ask. We'll answer.
I assumed they were later.
The first car company in the United States was 1895. Do you want to guess how many car manufacturing companies there have been in the United States since 1895?
I know there were a lot.
Oh,
I know for a while there were a bunch of them.
Getting warmer.
Getting warmer. I'm going to say 40.
40 car companies.
Yeah.
You think there were 40 car companies?
Between that time,
and
1895 and now, 40?
Yeah.
I bet even more. But most of them just like were around for a little while.
Yeah.
How many?
1,900 car companies have been around. 3,000 different makes of automobile have been made in the United States since. And I think you're right. Probably a lot of those companies were just like, they were only existed like 1897 to 1899.
Yeah, limited edition.
Yeah, they just did like they made like 4 cars, and then they're like, this is too hard.
Yeah. So people can afford the car, they can't afford the gas. Hey, talk about limited edition. Poor choice of words.
Yeah, I guess in The Godfather there are a lot of scenes there are a lot of dramatic scenes in cars.
Yeah.
So everything from
what have we seen so far?
In this, we saw in the whole
everything
in GF1 and GF and up to now
so far, yeah.
Well, McCluskey frisked. He frisked 1,000 young punks in those cars.
Yeah, the Lou turn.
We saw the Lou turn. We saw, of course, we discovered that it was Barzini all along in a car. There was a car blown up off camera in the Corleone yard.
Yeah. And what about? Sonny did get shot in the car, and then he got out.
Yeah. He was so badass. He got shot in the car and outside the car.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, you know what time this is. It's a time to go off the charts if you're not supporting the podcast. But if you do want to get on the charts, go to godfatherminute.com/support. For just $1 a show, you can listen to the rest of this episode and all the archives of the bonus footage.
You can listen to it tomorrow.